Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay Black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Thursday, November 20th, 2025, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. The Labor Department just released the delayed September jobs report, which shows black women's unemployment skyrocketing to the highest since 2021. We'll talk about that with economist Morgan Harper. Also, ProPublica's investigation is exposing multiple women who died after being denied abortions, even with serious health risks. We'll talk to one of the reporters who worked on this story on black maternal health. In tonight's Crockett Chronicles, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calls out Donald Trump's administration's using federal power like an autocratic dictator would. No shock there. With the holidays coming fast, in our Black Star Marketplace segment is Christmas in Color, a brand bringing culture, joy, and representation to your holiday decor. Plus, the races. Nick Fuentes. Oh, the right's loving him. Are we shocked? We'll talk about that. Plus, why did a black member of Congress from North Carolina vote for a bill repealing D.C.'s effort to keep disruptive, thuggish cops off the police force? Yeah, I got something to say about that. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
I remember a whole lot of quite loud and arrogant black folks and how amazing Donald Trump is going to be for the economy. Oh, they had lots to say until the actual facts come out. What do we see? This economy that he owns is in major trouble. That's right. The delayed September jobs report. Now, first of all, the White House is touting, oh my God, look at this, 119,000 jobs added. Look at this growth. Really? A significant increase between 2000 and August. But the overall unemployment rate went up to 4.4%. Black workers, the unemployment rate remains unchanged at 7.5%. Black men dropped several points to 6.6%, for black women increased to 7.5%, the highest since 2021. The delayed jobs report reveals a concerning trend, highlighting that black women are facing the most significant challenges in this economy. Morgan Harper is the Director of Policy and Advocacy at the American Economic Liberties Project. She's with us right now. Morgan, the White House is doing all they can to spin. But even Fox News is like, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, the September number was higher than expected, like you said, Roland, but there were these downward adjustments that were made. And so actually overall, there's about 900,000 fewer jobs created throughout the year than was previously expected. So the average monthly is just a few tens of thousands of jobs, much lower than what we were seeing even a year ago. And I do think it's important, to go a little bit deeper here. I mean, we're seeing the uptick in black women unemployment. We've talked about that a little bit before. Not a surprise given some of the cuts that have been happening in the federal sector where a lot of us have been employed and had stable jobs. And then when we look at the industries where the job growth is being driven right now, it is in leisure, restaurants, bars, and healthcare. And so we have to also think about the quality of those jobs. If we were talking about restaurants and bars, then not necessarily getting a guaranteed salary, not coming with the benefits, and that can lead to other effects in things like consumer spending. Another thing that I thought was interesting was the number of people that have college degrees that are also looking. We're starting to see an uptick there, and people that have college degrees that are not able to find jobs, including some young people. When we look at some of the sectors that are having layoffs, including the technology sector, that's likely to impact some folks in that category. And then also, you know, when we're talking about the tech sector and some of the areas where we're seeing job loss, it is in transportation, warehouses, where those have also been driving a lot of the job growth more recently. But overall, you're exactly right that the promise of this administration from campaign to inauguration and on has been that they're bringing back the manufacturing sector. And this is another month where we've seen an ongoing loss in manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that they claim all these amazing things are going to happen, and it's not happening. And I don't know if you saw last night's show. I got a kick out of whiny ass Lawrence B. Jones on Fox News going, it's only been 9 months. I mean, I don't know how you can put all this on Trump. Well, Fox News sure as hell put it all on Biden.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, what's interesting is I don't know if you saw this press release that came out from the White House where they're touting all the accomplishments of the White House and how popular the accomplishments are. And it's, you know, pointing to things like fewer foreign students at universities. And, you know, we're starting to get beefing up border security. But then when you're asked to look at how people are feeling about the economy, that's the lowest result. And so it turns out, you know, some of these immigration targets are not actually helping anyone's bottom line. And it'll be interesting to see, you know, looking ahead to 26, how this all plays out. I don't know that the administration can count, or by extension, the Republican Party, a lot of folks that are going to be up. You know, is it going to matter some of these quote unquote cultural issues where they've been able to tout these so-called accomplishments when at the end of the day, these job numbers, the overall economic picture, and just how people are experiencing the economy right now is not very positive. And they're saying it when they're asked, and the polling is reflecting that.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they have all of this spin. I mean, so they're trying everything to not talk about it. Even this, hang, shoot, execute Democrats. I mean, look, Donald Trump is trying to throw everything out here to keep people not focused on his pathetic job when it comes to the economy.
Yeah, and I'm going to point to another thing for us to continue to monitor here is the healthcare sector. I mean, this is where a lot of jobs have been created, but that's another area of a lot of sensitivity, vulnerability. You know, so jobs are being created, but there's a lot of vertical integration in the industry, hospitals that are dependent on a lot of federal funds coming in that isn't necessarily guaranteed in this environment. And so that might not continue to drive that growth. And we're seeing, you know, that the premiums are continuing to go up. Employers can't manage these costs. And that might also lead to a need to shed workforce or shed benefits, leading to other ripple effects in the economy for people if they have to go to the exchanges, should the exchanges continue to exist, if they're not getting employer-provided health care. So there's a lot of complexity here. I do think we're going to have to continue to look at health care. That's both immediate, just monitoring what's happening, but then also a discussion about what comes next. Because even in a world where the subsidies continue for the Affordable Care Act, these premiums are becoming unsustainable. Like I was saying, for a lot of employers, there's a lot of concentration of power where large companies that are on Wall Street are not necessarily focused on delivery of care or controlling costs, quite the opposite. And we've got to think through how to change those incentives to make sure that, yes, we continue to have a sector that's employing people, but also employing people to deliver medicine and care, not just reward shareholders.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting to see how this plays out, and the economy is not getting better. There was I saw there was a front page. Do y'all have that front page of the Des Moines newspaper? I thought this was it was really interesting, Morgan, seeing this. I was this morning. I was looking at different stories or whatever, and I'm telling you, all these crying farmers, and they're sitting here. All upset. And again, they voted for this dude. This is the front page right here. The Des Moines Register, growing bankruptcies. More farmers seek help counseling as crops prices fall, expenses add up. Well, guess what? Y'all voted for this dude.
Yeah, I am very, very curious how 26 is going to play out. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to point to the, this White House release. I mean, even the accomplishments that they're trying to convince people, when you have to put out a release to convince people that the economy is strong, that already suggests something is a bit awry. But, they're pointing things like, you're going to get the best tax refund ever in a year. Wait for it, right? I think what we're hearing from a lot of these farmers is that they're in a day-to-day situation. They don't have a year. And so if people are really feeling these impacts so immediately, I would think that it's going to shift, the electoral outcomes here, but only time will tell, I guess.
Well, not only that, so I saw this video here. So now he's unleashing these raids on North Carolina. And this farmer in North Carolina said, this ain't going to turn out well. Check this out, Morgan.
I own a farm in North Carolina, and I can tell you for a fact that these raids will not make our state more safe, but they will make it more expensive, and it will be a stain on all of us. In May, when we start harvesting strawberries after the toll of deportation raids and the psychological trauma inflicted on the Latino communities continue to fester, farms like us aren't going to have our usual labor. We've already been told there's going to be a shortage. I spoke with one farmer who's posted locally for jobs harvesting produce for 10 years, and he's never had a local person apply. He doesn't even know what he's going to do next year. The people being rounded up are hardworking individuals, not criminals, and the blunt force tactics are only meant to make people afraid. They're not targeted. They're biased against people who don't look like me. Many of the people affected are working on our farms, building our houses, constructing our roads. They're the hardest working people I know. They're humble and kind with actual family values. I believe a day of reckoning will come, but unfortunately not just for the people perpetuating this awful tragedy, but for us as a country for letting it happen. Have the day you voted for.
See, the thing right here, not only that, construction jobs, these farm jobs. And so all these folks, again, they love them some Trump. They can't stand immigrants. They don't want, they trash and undocumented workers. Okay, you're now about to experience the thing you said you wanted.
Well, yeah, and if you're looking at like Ohio, for example, where I am, you have a state government that has completely disinvested in education of young people. And so they're not exactly building up some kind of like next generation workforce that is prepared to take on leadership in any of these sectors or be able to be employed in them. And then you're eliminating what has been filling these jobs. And look, I mean, I think we all agree we want Americans to be successful. We want Americans to be able to get good paying jobs, but y'all can't have it both ways. He's like, you're cutting what is the current labor force and you are not investing in people who actually live here, which you claim to be caring about. And that is just not going to add up. And so, it's a pretty depressing situation. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat this. But I do think it's important for us, and I think I say it almost every time I come on, to just continue to try to get the facts out about what is happening on the ground. I mean, we had there's a small town here northeast of Columbus where, the only restaurant in the town, more or less, was shut down, this taco shop, because of the raids. And that was the restaurant. That was employing people. That was where people were going for, when they're trying to just like hang out for a little bit. They were also sponsoring sports teams and different community activities. And so at every level, this is all backwards. And I do hope that people will kind of make these connections quickly as we look ahead to next year.
All right, Morgan, Harper, always a pleasure. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Good to see you.
Going to a quick break. We'll come back with my panel right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Carl Payne pretending to be Roland Martin. Holla!
You ain't got to wear black and gold every damn place, okay?
Ooh, I'm an alpha, yay!
All right, you're 58 years old. It's over.
And you are now watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable.
All right, folks, our panel, Reese Colbert, host of The Reese Colbert Show and creator of Am I Trippin' Game out of D.C. Of course, she's on Sirius XM Radio. We have Dr. Greg. We're joined a little bit later by Dr. Greg Carr, Department of Afro-American Studies at Howard University. Joy Chaney, founder of Joy Strategies out of D.C. All right, let's get right into it. I have been cracking up laughing. I really have about the jobs report. And every time it comes out, because it was always hilarious to me, Reese, for 4 years, how Fox News was just apoplectic. And they just could not understand how great the economy was every single month of Biden-Harris. It was like every single month. They was like, oh, damn, another good jobs report. And it was just driving them crazy. Yeah. And now it's killing them, and they're trying to find some glimmer of hope when it comes to Donald Trump. Listen to this. I thought this was pretty funny.
The unemployment rate going up to what is a cycle high of 4.44% if you look at the full number. And it's not good news, because if you look at, these are people entering the workforce, not so much. The way that the Bureau of Labor Statistics calculates this, they interpret the numbers as follows. They use a Census Bureau population estimate to inflate the survey sample size to the U.S. population size. So the number that they're using, the census number they're using for population growth, is based on a comprehensive population update that was done at the end of last year. Chris Lowe, the economist, adjusted for known border crossings and deportations now under President Trump. The actual numbers likely show that half that number that was used in this calculation is reflected half that much labor force growth. So cut that labor force growth number in half. That is near zero employment growth in the household survey used to calculate the unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate an unemployment rate that is still 4.44%. That is the ratio in the sample. So it's like, if you adjust the calculation, it's not because of good news.
And we all saw what happened there.
It's not good news, Reese.
I'm shocked that Fox News is admitting that the Trump administration is cleaning the books. This is a big reason why Donald Trump fired the statistician that is not typically a partisan position, so that he can get numbers in there that are more favorable to the story that he wants to tell. But it's important to note that these numbers are from September. We are days away from December, so we're not getting October numbers anytime soon. And I can only imagine what kind of carnage was done to the labor force because of the government shutdown, because of people having to pull back on spending and a number of things. There have been reports that seasonal hiring related to retail are much lower than they had been in prior years, even though there have been some strong numbers out from Walmart, and NVIDIA had a good earnings report. But there are a lot of warning signs in this economy. And the reality is this: all Donald Trump's funky ass had to do when he got in office was do nothing. The Biden-Harris economy was still chugging along. Yeah, it slowed down a little bit, but there was still job growth. All of the job losses that we're seeing, all of this massive disruption to the economy is because of Donald Trump's policies. It is because of his erratic tariff policies. It's because businesses had no idea what to expect from one day to the next, and so they stopped hiring, which is reflected in the stagnant job hiring numbers. People stay put in their jobs, even if their jobs suck and they don't want to do that. People are having a hard time who are long-term unemployed, and prices are up. Inflation is up. So all of these errors that we're finding in the economy are unforced errors, and they are deliberate policy from this administration. And so Donald Trump can say whatever the hell he wants to say about this new word, affordability, or groceries is a new word, or whatever the word he's discovering because he's an out-of-touch billionaire. But you can't gaslight the American people on what they feel. And that's why even though Dems and all their flaws and their poor perception from the general public are kicking Republicans' ass on the generic ballot in 2026.
But see, Joy, here's the thing that I think that people have to understand. It's very simple. Those who are in charge will get the blame or the credit. Simple as that.
That's
you're going to get blame or credit. Democrats, and what's interesting is that the White House is trying to do the exact same thing the Biden White House did, telling people it's not as bad as they think it is. People are like, no, it is. And this is the thing that I have long said, and I said this when Biden and Harris were there, that all of these people who are out here, they were expecting this snapback economy. They were like, it was as if COVID never existed. So they were complaining about inflation. They were complaining about prices. They were blaming, well, what can you do about it? Knowing full well the president actually can't. Well, there were moves made by Biden that actually were smart when it came to gas, strategic oil reserve, all those different things, but got no credit for it. But here you have Mr. Oh, I can save the world. On day one, everything is going to change. Everything will be fixed. Day one. And these idiots actually believed him. They said, oh, day one, he's going to end the Ukraine-Russian war. Day one, he's going to end Israel and Hamas fighting in Gaza. Oh, day one, he's going to lower everything. And so they fell for it. Now, all of a sudden, they realize, damn, these tariffs are kicking our ass. So all of these people, and that's why I'm just sitting back, I got thoughts and prayers. All of these farmers who are complaining, don't look at us. Y'all voted for his ass. These folks in North Carolina, they are about to learn what's going to happen when all these places are getting raided. It was a country club that went off because ICE came onto their property trying to snatch folks and hadn't talked to anybody. And so all this stuff is going on. Then you got people like that fool out of Ohio, Jim Jordan, who posted this here. Doesn't it seem like Democrats would rather see President Trump fail than America succeed? I swear, Joy, for 4 years, that's all I heard Republicans want. They wanted the economy to crater. They kept predicting a recession for 4 years, every single week for 4 years, and it never happened.
That's right. And we actually know that when Mitch McConnell was leader of the Senate and Donald Trump was coming in, he not only was betting on President Obama failing, he was waiting for it and trying to orchestrate it because they thought that was in their political interest. So, of course, Jim Jordan is telling on himself.
No, I'm sorry. So you meant, okay, no, that was when Obama was elected president in 2009.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, not Trump.
Not Trump. I'm saying Obama. When he was elected, the Republicans were very open. So what he's doing is reflecting what is the Republican strategy. When Democrats are in office, we always are pulling for the American people. In this case, Reese is right. If Donald Trump failed, we probably would succeed. We had a stronger economy when he came in office than we have today. And I think we talk about the results of this economic downturn, but we don't talk about why. Roland does, which is great, but we got to dig deeper into it. It is because of the tariffs. It is because of the instability he has created in the market. It is because of his attack on things that are actually good for bottom lines that including everyone in the economy. It is his immigration raids, which has created destabilization in the housing market, in other markets around the country, in the farming market, etc. It is his deals with other countries, going back to the tariffs, that have actually hurt American farmers. All of those things are hurting American people at a time, to be clear, where costs are going up. In due part to tariffs, in due part to destabilization in the in the healthcare market, right? Jobs are being lost. So fewer jobs at a time where there's higher costs. This is Donald Trump. And instability. Instability is not good for business. It means that they can't plan for the future. And Reese is right. We're talking about hearing what happened in September. There's a lag. The government shutdown is going to have a significant impact on the economy in October and November. So we can anticipate that there will be economic downturn during those months. But it won't simply be because of the shutdown.
Well, I love this, Reese. Well, Trump has lowered, Thanksgiving dinner by about 30 cents. I mean, they are trying everything in the world. So, I mean, here's my whole deal. Hey, suck it up. Y'all said this man was brilliant on the economy. Oh, he was polling way higher than Vice President Kamala Harris on the economy. Okay, let's see your magic. Nah, it was a con. The con man conned the fools again. He didn't con black women. He didn't con black men. He conned everybody else.
Right. Well, I remember one of the examples that they used to try to say that, Thanksgiving dinner is cheaper was a Walmart basket, where the Walmart basket had fewer items this year than it did in the last year's basket. And so if you try to manipulate, which is what this administration always does, they try to manipulate the data, they just make numbers up, then maybe you could kind of figure out a way to make Thanksgiving cheaper. But the reality is that prices are up. It is high as shit to get groceries, okay? So maybe it's going to be cheaper because you're going to have less sides, or we're going to have a little bit less turkey or less ham, whatever situation may be. People making substitutes might make it cheaper, but you cannot convince people what people spend. People know what their budgets are. People know how much money they have left over after they go to the grocery store, after they go to McDonald's, or what's the little in between Olive Garden where the rich folks and the poor folks can all have a little nice meal out. So it's not going to work trying to tell people that things don't cost as much when people know damn well what it costs. And so, I think it's desperate, and it just shows that they're unserious about really tackling the issues that we need them to tackle. And it
doesn't help, Reese, when your dumbass tariffs and with no strategy, no plan, nothing. It's just completely haphazard. That has played a crucial role also in all of this uncertainty. And he's just kind of like, well, let's see. Whoever gives me a gold-plated, so whatever, I'll lower your tariffs. I mean, it's been a joke. And the Republicans are just sitting here going, okay, go right ahead, Donald. Go ahead. Do whatever you want.
Can I just real quick say on that,
go ahead.
The thing about it is with tariffs is that they have tariffed every single country practically in this world. So when you're talking about raw goods that we import, when you talk about even things such as aluminum, every part of the products that we pay for in grocery stores have some sort of imported piece in it. And the price of all those things has gone up. And so what we've seen people like Procter & Gamble and other companies say, sure, we may not raise the price, but we will change the formulations on things, or we'll change how much quantity you get within the same packaging, or we'll change the packaging that you're getting for the same price. And so, yes, they have, through these tariffs, not only raised the price of every component of the supply chain, but they've also weakened the economies of scales that we get, because we don't have as wide a market for our businesses to sell to. And so whereas they would normally be able to save because they are producing much more that they get to export, a lot of these export markets have been closed off. So every single step of the economic chain, every step of the supply chain, whether we're importing or exporting, has been adversely impacted by this administration. And as Joy said, that instability is a big reason why we're seeing even more chaos. Because if you know that, well, today the tariff is 50%, but maybe somebody would scratch Donald Trump's back, throw him a cheeseburger, and it'll be 35% next week, then people are going to wait it out. They're going to wait out what they do in terms of capital expenditures. They're going to wait out what they do in terms of inventory. They're going to wait out what they do in terms of hiring and firing. And so that stagnation is really showing up in all of the numbers that we're seeing, and it's costing Americans a lot more at the grocery store.
And plus, we know all he's doing is lying his ass off, Joy. Saudi Arabia, they're going to invest $1 trillion to the American economy. The entire gross domestic product of Saudi Arabia is $1.1 trillion.
Exactly.
Dude, stop it. I mean, so he's lied about the Japanese. He's lied about, I mean, he just lies. And, massive investment. Yeah, we cut a deal where they're going to give us billions and I get to decide how it's going to be spent in the United States. And then the country's like, no, we didn't. They ain't what we talked about. I mean, I keep telling everybody, he lies about lies.
He lies about lies, and then when he can't lie anymore, he just cuts off the data. He says, no more. We're not even going to report anymore. I have Republicans who are also saying, I don't know that we're ever going to get data. And look, everyone out here has common sense. If that data was good, he wouldn't be making it up. He would be out there flying it high. He is not, because it's bad data. And he understands that, and the best thing to do is to not report it in his case. And with respect to any investments that are coming from other countries, we can be assured that they are investments that will go to the top percenters in the American economy, that the American people will never see it. To be clear, what economists are saying right now is we have all the indications that we've had the greatest job loss since the Great Depression, that's what could be on the other side in the new year and in coming years under Donald Trump for us. That's what they are saying when you're looking at historical data and patterns. That is a real concern. And Donald Trump doesn't seem to be making any changes to make that different. So he might float things out there like, I'm going to give you a check or I'm going to give you that. But my goodness, a one-time check? What does that mean for your long-term generational wealth? Nothing.
Well, first of all, he can't.
Everyone understands that, and that's never going to happen because it's illegal.
He also,
so those things.
He also can't give you a check because that has to be passed by Congress. He just can't on his own say, I'm going to send out $2,000 checks. No, that has to be passed by the House and the Senate. So, but again, the idiots fall for it and they go, oh my God, Donald is great. He's going to send us $2,000. No, he's not. No, it's not because y'all fall for the okie doke. And I'm telling you, all I'm doing as every day progresses. What did I say back in January? I said people have to FAFO, and so they have to learn the hard way. What did I say? They're going to have to experience maximum pain to then realize, oh my God, what was I thinking? And so that's why I'm sorry. I have no feelings if you're Muslim in Dearborn, Michigan, and you're pissed off that the racist right wing is protesting Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, and y'all think that voting for Trump gave you cover. I don't. I don't have any feelings for farmers in Nebraska and Iowa and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Georgia and Michigan that voted for Trump. I don't. If y'all are going bankrupt, I'm sorry. I don't have anything for you because y'all voted for him. If you're Latino and you're Cuban and you're Venezuelan and I'm sorry, y'all about to get deported and he's sitting here removing your legal status, sorry. Bottom line is your fellow countrymen and women who were voters, they voted for this. So the people who are experiencing massive amounts of pain, I feel nothing for them. I don't. Because this is what they voted for. And every time they say, oh, no, I voted for this, not this. No, when you vote, it's not a buffet. You're not at Golden Corral. You don't get to pick and choose what I voted for. Nope. You vote for all of it, whether it's good or bad. So I'm like, sorry, suck it up.
And
I gotta go to a quick break. And we come back, we got to deal with this here. Republicans repealing a D.C. law, including keeping thuggish cops off the force. And a CBC member voted for it. I'm talking about it next. You're watching Roland Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Breeding Funk fan club. You want to give via Cash App, use a Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. That's for also credit cards, PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Check the money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Back in a moment.
If in this country right now you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's a time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hello, I'm Paula J. Parker. Truly proud on the Proud Family, louder and prouder on Disney+. And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
House Republicans pushed through 2 bills on Wednesday aimed squarely at rolling back D.C.'s recent justice and policing reforms. The first, called the District of Columbia Cash Bail Reform Act, sponsored by Representative Elise Stefanik, would scrap D.C.'s no cash bail system. Instead, it brings back cash bail, meaning your freedom depends on whether you can afford to pay it. It also aligns with Donald Trump's August executive order to end cashless bail nationwide. The second bill, the Clean D.C. Act, sponsored by Congressman Andrew Clyde, aims at the city's police reforms. Things like limits on chokeholds, stricter body cam rules, and new accountability standards. Republicans say those changes helped fuel last year's spike in crime. No proof, of course, to back it up. 20 Democrats voted for the Clean D.C. Act. They are Henry Cuellar out of Texas, Don Davis out of North Carolina, Laura Gillen out of New York, Jared Golden out of Maine, Maggie Goodlander out of New Hampshire, Josh Gottheimer out of New Jersey, Adam Gray out of California, Marcy Kaptur out of Ohio, Susie Lee out of Nevada, Dave Min out of California, Jimmy Panetta out of California, Chris Pappas out of New Hampshire, Marie Glucier-DeCamp Perez out of Washington State, Josh Riley out of New York, Patrick Ryan out of New York, Kim Schreier out of Washington, Eric Sorensen out of Illinois, Thomas Asiozi out of New York, Eugene Vindman out of Virginia, George Whitesides out of California. So 20 Democrats, 1 CBC member. Now, Congressman Don Davis comes from a +2 red district. They've gerrymandered his seat to gerrymander him out. So here's my question to Congressman Don Davis. I need you to explain to the people. You're not from D.C. So let me be real clear. Don Davis represents North Carolina. There are no constituents of Don Davis or any of these Democrats in Washington, D.C. But I'm going to need them to explain to me, why in the hell would you vote for a bill that's there to protect citizens? Explain to me the logic behind this. We reached out to his office, no response. I text him, no response. But this is the kind of crap and Republicans do because Congress has oversight over D.C., Republicans in charge, they can do whatever they want. And these 20 Democrats should be challenged on that. These 20 Democrats should be challenged on, y'all like chokeholds? Are y'all saying that you don't want body cams? Are you saying that you don't like accountability? But it's amazing. No answer. Oh, I'm going to keep texting him, and I'm going to call him. Because that's shameful and despicable. And these 20 Democrats and Republicans should be called out because they clearly don't give a damn about the residents. Reese?
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that a bunch of white Democrats don't give a damn about police brutality. Much of these things are the same topic of that racial reckoning that we had in 2020 around George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. So this is a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face to the blood that was spilled and to the protest movement that really got some tangible gains. But it's also a slap in the face to the autonomy and self-governance of residents of D.C., most of whom are Black. And so it's just arrogance, and it's stupid. It's stupid, and it's cowardice because Democrats these Democrats, there were obviously hundreds of Democrats that didn't vote this way, but you have a segment of Democrats that are too afraid to ever appear to be anything other than bowing down and capitulating to the police force. And so, yeah, Don Davis, that's disgraceful. At a minimum, stay out of DC's business. Hello. So yeah, I don't understand what that is. He's new to Congress, getting there in 2023. So I don't have the ability to say he's a hypocrite for any kind of George Floyd justice and policing activity, but it's definitely disgraceful, and I'm glad you're calling it out, Roland.
Well, it deserves to be called out because, again, the whole point here is how do you have police accountability? And what these 20 Democrats and Republicans are saying is, oh, yeah, we don't want any accountability of police in D.C. That's what they're saying, Joy, pure and simple.
That is what they're saying. What they're also saying is that their constituencies want to see law and order, and they can't do anything about it on their local streets because, of course, a member of Congress doesn't control local policing policy. So they're going to do it by proxy, beating up on the people of Washington, D.C., interfering with their ability to engage in home rule. I have a friend on that list. I was surprised to see him, so apologies for being taken aback. I will be reaching out to that friend to say, WTF, please explain your vote. And of course, I'm a former staffer. I don't, I'm not going to, say that there can't be some reason why they would have voted for them. But my guess is that they think that if they can capitulate, they don't really support this bill, but they feel like if they can be on the record that somehow that's going to endear them to their constituents. Guys, it'll never work.
First of all, it's an easy answer. It's an easy answer. If you get criticized, say, I don't represent Washington, D.C.
Exactly.
That's all you got to say. The answer is, if you pull this up again, y'all, look at the people who voted for it. I'm going to read, where are they from? Texas, North Carolina, New York State,
California,
Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, California, Ohio, Nevada, California, New Hampshire, Washington State, New York State, Washington State, Illinois, New York State, Vinman, out of Virginia, California. The answer is real simple. Those are not my constituents. I don't represent them. And the bottom line is, so go to my iPad. This is from WJLA. The law that was passed, y'all, it now goes to the Senate. It bans the law that was passed by D.C., banned the use of chokeholds, amended access requirements for body-worn camera footage, added additional guidelines to the use of force review board, prohibited officers from reviewing body-worn camera recordings to assist in initial report writing, and prohibits negotiating discipline in its collective bargaining rules. These 20 Democrats, including Joy's friend and CBC member Don Davis, they voted to repeal that law. So what they're saying is they don't like any of these things for Washington, D.C.
That's right. And I mean,
and can I add too that like,
hold on. Joy finished, then Reese, go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I think that's important to note is it's not authentic. My guess is that none of these Democrats necessarily support this bill because, one, they don't know anything about DC. It really doesn't have anything to do with them. And so what their constituents have been signaled is that these are weak Democrats. They are 2 week. What won 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now is authentic Democrats. They were all different, but they were all authentically themselves, and they stood up for what they believed in. This is old Democratic politics where we do things that are contrived and that people know we don't believe in because we think it's going to benefit us with people who don't even like us. In the case of Don Davis, they're getting rid of him.
Yeah.
So why would he support them? How would that even benefit him? It is stupid.
The chairman of the D.C. Police Union, Reese, said, H.R. 55107 is the clean break we need to restore common sense policing and reduce crime in the district. Passing H.R. 5107 isn't about politics. It's about giving our officers the tools, protections, and respect they need to protect the public. Our city cannot afford another day of this failed experiment. He earlier said that, that's why experienced officers were retiring. No, they were retiring because they can't stand more accountability, Reese.
Right. That's what it is. But let me add that Jared Golden, who's one of the representatives who voted for this, he's retiring from elected office. And so I believe that some of this is about the fact that these white Democrats, let's be honest, believe in the idea that cops should have much more authority to abuse Black people. That's what it boils down to. Jared Golden is in Maine. Okay. The other one, Gustin Camp or Marie, whatever, she always sticking her nose in somebody who ain't Black business all the way over there in Washington. A lot of these Democrats do actually agree with the language of this and agree with giving cops the authority to do whatever the hell they want to do, knowing that the victims of police brutality, knowing that the victims of police corruption are not very likely to be people that look like them and their constituents.
Absolutely. All right, folks.
Dave,
let's go to Florida. South Florida Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick is speaking out after she was indicted for stealing $5 million in federal disaster relief funds and laundering the money to finance her 2021 congressional campaign. The Justice Department alleges Sherfilis McCormick and her brother funneled an overpayment from a FEMA COVID-19 vaccination contract through multiple accounts to hide its source. A significant portion was then funneled into her campaign through straw donor schemes. Sherfilis McCormick called the charges baseless.
Everyday people who... Well, it's an unjust indictment, and it seems like these intimidation tactics have been pervasive. We spent all week seeing different members getting censured, all in hopes of intimidating and kind of distracting from the Epstein files. And I look forward to my day in court so I can prove myself and actually state the truth. But if this is what Congress is becoming, where they're always trying to intimidate you, scare tactics, especially attacking minorities, Black and brown people, then we're going to have to keep fighting for the district. And everybody has been giving me so much support, and we're going to keep fighting until the district gets what it needs, which is fair prices, housing, and fair representation of Congress. So thank you so much.
What's your response to the calls from some of your colleagues to step down or resign?
They didn't elect me. It was my district. And so we'll keep fighting for the people and keep working like we're doing now until they get what they need. So we're here for the people. So the only people who elected me should make that decision. Thank you so much.
Republican Representative Greg Stoops said he plans to file a motion to censure her. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries released this statement saying Sheila Sherfilis McCormick has proudly represented the people of Palm Beach and Broward County since 2022. Consistent with the United States Constitution, she's entitled to her day in court and the presumption of innocence. Pursuant to the rules of the House Democratic Caucus, Congresswoman Sherfilis McCormick will take leave from her position as ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee's subcommittee on the Middle East and North Africa while this matter is ongoing. Reese, thoughts?
This don't look good. But you know, the presumption of innocent until proven guilty, child. I'm not going to defend any of this. I will say that I don't trust the Trump DOJ. I will say that they have clearly targeted and weaponized the DOJ in terms of their prosecution. But this is very specific and, financial crimes, So hopefully homegirl is innocent. They would just put it like that. Because
this,
nobody is getting a free pass and nobody's getting a blind eye under Donald Trump. So cross your T's and dot your I's, okay?
This actually, Joy, has been under investigation for some time. And in fact, if you actually look at, this is the statement, the press release. It mentions her brother, Edwin Sherfless, 51. It also said the indictment further alleges that Sherfless McCormick and Nadege LeBlanc, 46 of Miramar, arranged additional contributions using straw donors. The indictment also charges Sherfless McCormick and her 2021 tax preparer, David Spencer, with conspiring to file a false federal tax return. So there are multiple individuals who are being targeted. If convicted, Sherfless McCormick faces up to 53 years in prison. Edwin Sherfless faces up to 35 years in prison. LeBlanc, 10 years. Spencer, up to 33 years. Joy?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to find out what happens here. I don't jump to conclusions. You're innocent until proven guilty. That's the case always, even with Donald Trump. He has been proven guilty. That's the crimes. Those are the crimes that I'm most interested in, the crimes that he is committing and that he's been accused of and the members of his administration have been accused of, because they're the ones that really hurt the most Americans. But yeah, absolutely. If someone has engaged in a crime where they are siphoning off federal funds, engaging in something that ultimately hurts their local community and abuses taxpayer dollars, absolutely. I want them fully prosecuted. And I want them to also have the ability to fully adjudicate and defend themselves in court. That's what's going to happen. Hakeem Jeffries is saying it right. Let's follow the House rules and let's go forward. I wish for her that she gets real serious. She seems to be serious. Don't make it about politics. Make it about defending yourself and do what you need to do in order to continue to represent your constituents during this time. I don't believe that anyone should necessarily resign. I think that you ought to continue to fight as you defend charges, and we ought to give her the room to do that.
This is the NPR story. It says in December 2024, a Florida state agency sued a company owned by Sherfless McCormick's family, saying it overcharged the state by nearly $5.8 million for work done during the pandemic and wouldn't give the money back. The Florida Division of Emergency Management said it made a series of overpayments to Trinity Healthcare Services after hiring it in 2021 to register people for COVID-19 vaccinations. The agency says it discovered the problem after a single $5 million overpayment drew attention. Sherfless McCormick was the CEO of Trinity at the time. The Office of Congressional Ethics said in a January report that Sherfless McCormick's income in 2021 was more than $6 million higher than in 2020, driven by nearly $5.75 million in consulting and profit-sharing fees received from Trinity Healthcare Services. In July, the House Ethics Committee unanimously voted to reauthorize an investigative subcommittee to examine allegations involving Sherfless McCormick. So we will tell you what happens next with this story. All right, y'all, we come back. ProPublica has a great story talking about women who have lost their lives because of these strict abortion laws, and also how black women are being adversely impacted as well. We'll talk about that. Talk about Nick Fuentes. It's a lot of stuff I want to get to and deal with. And so y'all know we are absolutely always ready to bring the funk right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Also, we're going to hear from Ryan Coogler today. Chadwick Boseman got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Folks, if you want to support the work that we do, join our Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to give via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. That can also be used for credit cards. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Back in a moment.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I am Tommy Davidson. I play Oscar on Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I don't play Sammy, but I could. Or I don't play Obama, but I could. I don't do Stallone, but I could do all that. And I am here with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
This week we had two stories about black women who were pregnant and turned away at a hospital after being mistreated by hospital staff. Good news, both mothers and their babies are alive and healthy so far. However, that is not the case. ProPublica has published an article detailing the disparities in black maternal health, highlighting stories of black mothers who did not survive. One tragic example, 37-year-old Tiara Walker from Texas, who died 20 weeks pregnant after doctors refused to provide her with an abortion despite severe health risks. ProPublica reporter Kavita Sumrana joins us now to discuss this investigation. Glad to have you on the show, Kavita. What did y'all find out?
Thank you for having me. Well, I think the most important thing to know about this particular story is looking into the fact that abortion bans in the United States don't have real health exceptions for the kinds of risks that women routinely face in pregnancy. And this case really shows that. Tiara Walker, who lived in San Antonio, she was 37, a dental assistant with a 14-year-old son, spent much of her pregnancy in the hospital. She had skyrocketing blood pressure, diabetes, then she developed a seizure disorder and blood clots, and she entered her pregnancy sick, and she got sicker as it went on, as doctors expected. But despite that, and despite asking if an abortion would protect her health, she was never offered that option, her family says, who spent much of the time in the hospital with her, and her records show as well, which we reviewed in depth with more than a dozen maternal health experts across the country. And when you look at how much time she spent in the hospital and see that at least 90 doctors were involved in her care, I really think it points out to how these laws have changed women's health care in Texas and other parts of the country. And because we know that there's a maternal mortality crisis, a maternal death crisis in the United States already before this, and that has fallen hardest on the Black community because of longstanding issues in both, healthcare systems and socioeconomic factors and racial discrimination in the healthcare system, that these laws just worsen that.
And this was exactly what many of us said was going to happen. And part of the problem is that you have doctors who are so concerned because they don't know what the hell to do, threats to take their license. And so many folks say, you know what, we're not going to do anything.
Yes, in this case, we tried to reach out to some of the doctors involved in key parts of her care. We reached out to the hospital and none of them would talk to us. But we have been doing this reporting for years now. We've talked to more than 100 OBGYNs across the country. We've written about specific cases where the doctors did describe how they were confused by the law, that a patient in front of them had a very serious life-threatening condition, but their legal teams weren't allowing them or supporting them to provide care. Sometimes what happens too is you have to remember it's not just one doctor making a decision on a case. These doctors have to work with a whole staff, and especially when a procedure is complicated. So there's a lawsuit going on right now in Texas of a woman who it was written in her records that she needed a life-saving abortion because she had end-stage renal disease, but they couldn't find an anesthesiologist who would participate in the care. So the doctors were ready to, but one doctor who was key wouldn't, or sometimes you hear it's nurses, they can't find a nurse who will help. So, these laws, even when there's misinformation about them, really get in the way of care and even talking about counts, because that's what stands out in this case with Tiara is that no one was even talking to her about it. She was trying, her family who was with her says she was trying to ask and advocate for herself and ask, would it be safer for me to end this pregnancy so I can be here for my son? And they feel that she was dismissed and told over and over, your pregnancy is healthy and we're just going to work on getting your health under control. But her health never got under control. And at 20 weeks, she died of preeclampsia.
Yeah, and again, this woman's dead. And let's be real clear. Texas Republican lawmakers, they don't give a damn.
We always try to reach out to the lawmakers who've written these laws. And the legislature had made a small change to the exception in their law this past year. So we reached out to them to ask, that exception or the language was not in effect when Tiara Walker's case happened last year. Do they think it would change the outcome for a patient with similar conditions going into pregnancy, again, with uncontrolled blood pressure, diabetes, and a seizure disorder? Is that what they intended with this law? Because doctors who've spoken to us, they're not sure if their hospitals will support them. And you would think it would be an easy answer to respond to, but we only heard back from one Democratic state senator who just told us that she had pushed for a clear health exception, but her Republican colleagues, they listen to the far right of their base that really doesn't want to see any exceptions in these laws. I think that's something important to point out, that at every step, not just in Texas, but in other states that have these laws on the books, the anti-abortion activists who have basically written them and supported them, they really fight back against any effort to create a health risk exception. There are exceptions called for the life of the mother, but they're written in ways that are supposed to be for emergencies or extremely narrow. And when anyone tries to say, why isn't there one for just a high-risk pregnancy? That's what so many women in America face. They go into pregnancy with underlying chronic conditions, or they may develop them in pregnancy. They've fought back and they've won.
Questions from the panel. Joy, you first.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for doing this story. What is the family planning to do in terms of a lawsuit, right? Are they going to sue? Because the counterbalance here has to be malpractice suits that are levied against these doctors and the healthcare professionals in the hospital to make them give pause to say, look, not only are there these laws, but our hospital might shut down because of the lawsuits and the legal fees that we might have to pay because of these decisions, so that they will put pressure on their elected officials to create exceptions that protect them and their patients.
That's what we'll be watching. The family wants justice. They want accountability. And they've engaged a lawyer who is looking into filing a lawsuit and what kind of legal remedies there can be. Because one thing people don't think about is that there's often, in Texas, I don't know all the specifics, but the lawyer that they're working with did tell me that there's extremely strong protections for emergency room doctors. It's a very high bar. So sometimes even when something, a wrongdoing has clearly happened, it can be very hard to sue. But they're going to try, and they're also, there's other remedies. I think if the state legislature cared, they could, a legislator could file a complaint with the Texas Medical Board to have them look into this case and get more clarity. So that's something we'll be watching. I do know that there's a number of malpractice cases that are starting to be filed in Texas, and it will raise the question of, have these hospitals been too afraid of their felony charge that is a theoretical charge from the state, and not worried enough about their patients and the malpractice that they could become liable for.
That's right.
Reese?
Thank you for being here. I'm curious, how public is data around issues of maternal or infant mortality in these states that have abortion ban? Is there a way, do you find that it's more prominent in particular hospitals, or is it particular providers? You mentioned that one of the subjects had 90 doctors see her over the course of her hospitalization. So I'm just curious if mothers could potentially protect themselves by accessing data that shows where this problem is more pronounced, or if you found that it's more so statewide as opposed to concentrated in particular areas.
I'm glad you asked that question, because that's one of the reasons we started doing this work at ProPublica, and you can read a lot more of it at our website, ProPublica.org, because we learned that, yes, while states do have maternal mortality review committees, they're years behind often in their reports, and they often don't report in a kind of granular detail that could be helpful for people in making decisions about their care, like you say. And they're not looking specifically into the impact of these very laws that their state legislatures passed, which are some of the biggest changes to maternal health policy in 50 years. They're not looking into that. In fact, in Texas, they specifically by statute are barred from reviewing any case that involves an abortion procedure. And that can even be for a miscarriage that just used a procedure that they associate with abortion. They're just not going to even look at that case, which is really leaves out an important part of the picture. So that's why we have started to do this kind of painstaking work where we try to go and get the death records, autopsy records. In some states like Texas, that's going county by county to request records, and it's only a sliver of them. It's not the full data. And then we reach out to families and we try to ask if we can look at the case more closely, get hospital records with their help, and then review them with experts. And so even some families just don't want to look into that. So we only are seeing a small slice of these cases. But I think one of the cases that currently has a malpractice case that I referenced earlier, where an anesthesiologist wouldn't participate in her care, this woman ended up getting an advocacy organization called If, When, How to call the hospital on her behalf and threaten legal action. And that's how she ultimately got this life-saving abortion, according to the complaint in her lawsuit. So, yes, we do have a guide on our website at ProPublica.org that's about some of the questions that patients who live in these states can ask their medical providers and what they can try to do to know if a hospital provides, or a provider would provide a DNC, for example, or a D&E, and what their policies are. But it puts so much on the patient to have to try to coordinate their own care that is a really unfair outcome of this law. And I think the most chilling thing I've heard from some doctors when I've tried to ask them, what advice would you give a patient if they're pregnant and they're not sure if the hospital will provide them care if they end up having complications in pregnancy, and what can they do? What can they say? They've told me it's very, bluntly, that they would tell them to go to a different state, which is just not an answer for a lot of people. Tiara Walker was in the hospital for most of her pregnancy. So the idea of even, beyond financially, but just her medical condition to go and continue her pregnancy in another state or end her pregnancy in another state was really out of reach.
All right, then. Folks, this is the story right here. Ticking time bomb. A pregnant mother kept getting sicker. She died after she couldn't get an abortion in Texas. Kavita, Serena, Lizzie Presser, the reporters on that. And so we appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Great story, and thanks for the coverage.
Thank you so much for having me. And like I said, we have a lot of resources and more reporting on this important topic and data at ProPublica.
All right. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. Crockett Chronicles, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This
week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. Are you looking for clarity on your believer's journey? Are you finding it difficult to really find your lane and stay in your place? Do you think that you have what it takes to build a sense of community even in these difficult times, knowing that God has got your back? Well, this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about just those things.
I have the courage to walk through this tough season because they're going to come.
You need the friends that have a belief system like yours.
A believer's journey this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, and higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Mitchell, a news anchor at Fox 5 DC.
Hey, what's up? It's Tammy Roman, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett on the House Judiciary Committee went off on the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief, Donald Trump. Watch.
Since January, Donald Trump has used the full power of the federal government to attack Americans in cities across the country. In Donald Trump's America, you are at increased risk of experiencing militaristic operations in your home, increased risk of being subject to detainment by mass thugs and wannabe vigilantes, increased risk of suffering injuries due to reckless and illegal acts by rogue federal agents, increased risk of being deported to foreign nations even if you are an American citizen, and you're at an increased risk of being targeted by federal government for criticizing the president and his friends. Congressional Republicans have completely abandoned their Article I powers and have exchanged their responsibility to their constituents with fealty to the president. They have allowed the president to morph federal agencies into instruments of autocracy. And as a result, the president has been able to ignore federal law, disregard court orders, and implement the largest pay-for-play scheme in American history. The White House, well, what's left of it anyway, is literally up for sale. The federal courts have characterized this presidency as, quote, lawless. In fact, when ruling against illegal acts committed by the administration, a Republican-appointed federal judge stated, quote, the court cannot imagine how the public interest might be served by permitting federal officials to flaunt the very laws they have sworn to enforce. In a separate case where the administration was sued for unlawful acts, the judge, also a Republican appointee, stated, quote, allowing constitutional rights to be dependent upon the grace of the executive branch would be a dereliction of duty by this third and independent branch of government and would be against the public interest. But in another case, the court summed it up perfectly by declaring, quote, as is becoming far too common, we are confronted again with the efforts of the executive branch to set aside the rule of law in pursuit of its own goals. Judiciary Committee Republicans have been completely complicit in this corruption. But since they're so interested in restoring law and order, I have a couple of suggestions on where they can start. Number one, this is the President of the United States standing beside his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. As we all know, Mr. Epstein is one of the most notorious sexual predators in American history. For 8 weeks, the Republicans on this committee have chosen to protect these two men instead of providing justice to Mr. Epstein's victims. Now the administration is panicking. First, they campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. Then AG Bondi and Associates did a photo op with the files. And she said, and I quote, the Epstein list is on my desk. Then somehow the Epstein list didn't exist. Then the Epstein files became a Democratic hoax. Now the president is supposedly supportive of releasing the files, even though he's currently ignoring a congressional subpoena to do so. Now the president is simply crashing out. And it's because he can't seem to explain his special decades-long relationship with one of the most prominent sexual predators in American history. It's already public that he's in the Epstein files, but his administration is hiding the context of his involvement, if any, with Mr. Epstein's horrific crimes. Now, this is Miss Ghislaine Maxwell. Miss Maxwell, who obviously helped Jeffrey Epstein traffic more than 1,000 women and girls, well, Donald Trump is now giving her special treatment while she's serving out her prison sentence. He won't even rule out giving her a pardon or commuting her sentence. I don't need to explain why pardoning sex traffickers wouldn't be restoring law and order. Now, this is Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Not only has Secretary Noem been busy filming propaganda ads, she's also been busy cashing in on millions of taxpayer dollars. In fact, Secretary Noem has funneled millions of dollars to a company called the Strategy Group. The Strategy Group helped Secretary Noem win her campaign to become the governor of South Dakota. Corey Lewandowski, her top policy advisor, has worked with the firm. And the company's CEO is married to Secretary Noem's chief spokesperson, Mrs. Tricia McLaughlin. This is what corruption looks like. They're stealing money from the American people's pockets and depositing it into their bank accounts. Now we move on to yet somebody else. This is the so-called border czar, Tom Homan. Mr. Homan is on tape accepting $50,000 in cash bribes stuffed in a brown paper bag from an undercover FBI agent. Apparently, Mr. Homan accepted these bribes in exchange for awarding federal contracts to his friends. Trump's Department of Justice killed the investigation into Mr. Homan's crimes, and congressional Republicans didn't say a mumbling word. Lastly, this is insurrectionist and Nazi sympathizer Ed Martin. It appears that Mr. Martin is functioning as the Associate Deputy Attorney General, Pardon Attorney, Director of the Fake Weaponization Working Group, and Special Attorney for Mortgage Fraud. All that means is that Mr. Martin is Trump's lapdog, whom the president sends to initiate lawsuits against the president's perceived political opponents. This is what we call organized crime. They're breaking the law, often by stealing taxpayer dollars, covering up their crimes by ending and obstructing investigations, then prosecuting people who call out their unlawful behavior. And while the Republicans are encouraging this corruption, they're abandoning actual victims of violent crime and ignoring the Republican-led state's 21st century murder crisis. In September's appropriation markup, congressional Republicans proposed reducing the FBI staff by thousands of positions and underfunding the agency by more than $1 billion. They've proposed slashing resources from the ATF. They've proposed cutting grants for juvenile justice programs and hate crimes and eliminating the community violence intervention and prevention grants. They're literally defunding the police. So no matter what they say at today's hearing, congressional Republicans have proven that they are not investing in keeping American communities safe from violent crime. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
You know, it's hilarious sitting there listening to Congresswoman Crockett talk about corruption, Reese. And Dan Bongino, you know, the one who got a pass when it came to being vetted, he actually put this tweet out today. Public corruption will not be tolerated. Come on, go let's see the tweet. Come on. Public corruption will not be tolerated. Reese, I'm laughing because Donald Trump has pardoned a number of people who were convicted of public corruption. So I'm like, it ain't no shock they let Tom Homan off the hook for taking that 50 grand.
Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Let's also remind people that. So he is the epitome of corruption. He's been civilly also convicted in order to pay tens of millions of dollars for fraudulent business activities. So he is the epitome of corrupt. And as Congresswoman Crockett pointed out, I mean, it's like a mob boss. This is a shakedown half the time. So I think Dan Bongino, I think he maybe is trying to distract from the fact that he was one of the people calling for the Epstein files before he became, undeservedly so, the deputy FBI director. But nobody believes anything you got to say, Dan. Okay, so bye-bye.
I just sit here, Joy, and I mean, first of all, let's just be real clear. Yeah. Donald Trump is completely, undoubtedly, absolutely, undeniably corrupt. Mm-hmm. He is. I mean, so they are pimping the White House. This is like telling, hey, Bonnie and Clyde, we're going to hire y'all to be a bank manager. I mean, that's easy for them. Like, that's literally, I mean, what these fools are doing, the selling of access, the pimping, the deals being cut. You can buy this dude off. There is no announcement. There is no announcement made out of his mouth where I don't instantly think he got a check. Somebody paid him. Mm-hmm. He is selling pardons. I don't give a damn what. Yeah. He's selling pardons.
He's absolutely selling pardons. And then when he can't sell it, he just doesn't prosecute at all. He undoes things that were already in progress for his friends. And then when they point it out, they say, you know what, this person invested in your company, or this person has a personal relationship with someone who has a financial interest in your company. He says, oh, well, a lot of people like them, as if that's a legal standard. This man is corrupt. Birds of a feather flock together. And, you know, I was listening like, why is he just being so open about it? I personally think he's being open about it because it serves two purposes. One, it lines his pockets. But the other thing is it distracts us all, right? So now we have to talk about it, and we should, right? But it hides whatever else corrupt he's doing down the line. Moreover, I think just things aren't working together on policy. The economy, as we began the show, the economy is doing poorly. His tariff policies aren't going the way he wants them to go unless he tries to buy people, right? Where they give him, like the Swiss did, give him a watch or give him a gold bar or give him something, right? And also like his immigration policies are hated. All around, he's seeing failure after failure. Governing is harder than it's ever been. And his foreign policies are not the success that he purports them to be. And so he's going back to what he knows.
Well,
what he knows is the grift.
Look, he wants to be a dictator. He desperately wants to be a dictator. Now federal judges ruled that, yes, his order to have National Guard in D.C. was unlawful. More federal judges are ruling against him. And so this is somebody who is absolutely, beyond a doubt, idiotic. And we're seeing what happens when you put someone who has no morals, no values, no principles, no ethics in a position of authority. Greg Carr joins us right now. And Greg, what Congresswoman Crockett laid out, we're dealing with a dictator. We're dealing with somebody who loves dictators, and we're dealing with a thug. He is the thug in chief. He is a corrupt thug. That's who Donald Trump is. And MAGA, for every day they suck up to him, all they're simply doing is just lining his pockets, and he don't give a damn about none of they broke asses.
None.
He does not, brother. He does not. And forgive me for being late and for the lighting. I'm here in Philadelphia, the Black Male Educator convening. A room, 1,000 educators from all over the country, mostly black men. And if I got stopped one time, I got stopped 300 times today to tell you that the Black Star Network must succeed, and all these people watching. So some of y'all, someone went back to the hotel rooms and watched that. I had to give you that message first of all.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, but yes, Congresswoman Crockett is really showing the way. Keep your foot on his neck. As you've been laying out now for months, and certainly we're seeing it now. I think he may have peaked. As you say, the judges are pushing back now, whether it be Utah, whether it be district and state judges, whether it be his person in Virginia and in New York who are in trouble now as these federal judges say, you weren't even appointed. And wait a minute, wait, you're filing claims to the grand jury and you didn't even give them the true bill. So he may have peaked. This stunt he pulled with Mohammed bin Salman this week in the White House, when approached about the journalist Jamal Khashoggi to say, hey, a lot of people didn't like him and things happened. Donald Trump, we know, is mentally ill. We know he's not well. But what Congresswoman Crockett is doing now is pressing the advantage. If we had some more people to follow her lead and join her, I think you would see a very big sea change. We certainly saw it with Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna and the four who would not be shaken, who decided to go ahead on the Republican side and move toward getting the Epstein files released. I don't expect they're going to be released. But you saw not only was only the one congressperson, that crazy Clay Higgins that you've been roasting, vote not to release them, but the following day they then voted unanimously, Senate and House Representatives, to say, oh, and that money you trying to steal, $500,000 floor, you going to stop doing that. Everybody had to vote against that. What Jasmine Crockett is doing, what Representative Crockett is doing, is basically delivering a playbook from the House of Representatives on how to speak truth to power and to be fearless. Between what she's doing and what, a person like Gavin Newsom is doing in California, I think this is what turns the tide as this thing has. I really do believe it's beginning to peak.
Indeed. We got some breaking news. Fugees rapper Pras Michel, 14 years in federal prison. He was sentenced today in a court in D.C. This is Associated Press story right here. He, of course, sentenced to 14 years in prison over illegal donations to the Obama campaign. The story lays out right here that he declined to address the court before he was being sentenced. In April 2023, he was convicted of 10 counts, including conspiracy and acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign government. Of course, a number of people testified in that trial, including Leonardo DiCaprio, as well as former Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Justice Department prosecutors, this is the AP story, said federal sentencing guidelines recommended a life sentence for Michel, whom they say, quote, betrayed his country for money and lied unapologetically and unrelentingly to carry out his scheme. His sentence should reflect the breadth and depth of his crimes, his indifference to the risk to his country, and the magnitude of his greed. His attorney said the 14-year prison sentence was, quote, completely disproportionate to the offense. He is going to appeal his conviction. His defense attorney recommended a 3-year prison sentence as well. So, again, of course, one of the founders of the Fugees, Pras Michel, sentenced 14 years in prison. Hey, there's a way to get out. Now, granted, he was sentenced for trying to funnel donations to Obama, But trust me, we know how Trump works. He'll gladly take $3, $4, $5 million check to issue a pardon. So we'll see what happens here. And so all y'all were hoping for a Fuji's world tour. Remember when they called that tour off? I was like, that may not happen ever again. That is the case now. All right. Let me actually, I won't go to a break. Talk about this story here. A federal judge has ordered Alabama to use a new state Senate map in the upcoming 2026 elections, ruling that the current districts illegally dilute the voting power of black residents in Montgomery. U.S. District Judge Anna Monasco, a Trump appointee, found that the state violated the Voting Rights Act by packing black voters into Senate District 26, limiting their influence elsewhere. The new court-selected map unpacks District 26 by redistributing some black voters into the adjacent District 25. State Senators Kirk Hatcher, a Democrat, and Will Barfoot, a Republican, currently represent these districts. Governor Kay Ivey declined to call a special legislative session to redraw the map, leaving the court to impose a new plan. While this change shifts voter demographics in the area, it is not expected to affect the Republican supermajority in the Alabama Senate. In North Carolina, a 3-judge panel in North Carolina recently heard arguments regarding a lawsuit challenging the state's new congressional maps. The lawsuit alleges that Republican lawmakers redrew the district lines to dilute black voting power, specifically by dividing a long-standing black opportunity district in eastern North Carolina, that's the one Don Davis has, in order to secure an additional GOP seat. Deborah Dix Maxwell, president of the North Carolina NAACP, highlighted the urgency of advocating for federal representation. Legal experts indicate that the plaintiffs will need to demonstrate intentional racial bias in the process of drawing the maps. With the candidate filing deadline approaching on December 1st, a court ruling is expected soon. Greg, I want to go back to the Alabama Senate map. Mm-hmm. And this is what I kept trying to explain to people, why that Louisiana case is so important. And if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the plaintiffs and they say race can't be used, what that is going to unleash, it is going to unleash potentially 12 to up to 30 CBC and Latino seats wiped out. But it's going to then be cascading downward. It's going to impact state races as well, local races. And we're seeing right here in Alabama, again, federal judges and a Supreme Court rule creating the opportunity district that Shamari Figures is in. Now you're talking about this right here. Look, the supermajority in Mississippi was broken because a federal judge ruled that black folks were being screwed over. So the reality is that black power in the South is on the precipice of being wiped out because these right-wingers want to destroy Section 2 of the 1965 Voting Rights Act.
No, they absolutely do. But, you know, it is interesting, isn't it, Roland? None of this is written in stone. None of it is written in stone. Certainly, it's very encouraging to see the 3-judge panel in Texas, as you've been reporting, say that this is a racial gerrymander. Of course, it's now going to go directly to the Supreme Court because in those instances, you have 2 district court judges and 1 appeals court judge that make those rulings when it comes to an issue like gerrymander, and then it's going to go straight to the Supreme Court. But, of course, the fact that you had both a Trump appointee and a Reagan appointee as 2 of the 3 judges in Texas really gives some encouragement. And the fact that this is a Trump appointee in Alabama certainly sends a message. All of those judges that Trump appointed, he didn't know any of their names. He wouldn't pick them out of a lineup. He was given lists by the Federalist Society. And that should give us a little bit of encouragement because these are judges that have been vetted by that right-wing think tank, that right-wing nasty piece of work, Leo and his crew. So for them to say this, it may very well be signaling that they've taken and gone a bridge too far. Now, certainly we don't hold out a whole lot of hope for the MAGA 6 on the Supreme Court as it relates to the case, as you say, in the Supreme Court gerrymander case that is now before the court. However, the Louisiana case, Calais. However, it could very well be that they may apply the brakes, if for no other reason than if you completely destroy Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, they've got to know that this may very well become an issue in the midterm elections. and it will become an issue that could ultimately lead, if the Democrats can capture the House, capture the Senate, and capture the presidency 2 years later, to expanding the number of people on the court. I think if we look back in 2 years and see such a thing begin to be in the pipeline, a great deal of it will be because these decisions that are coming out now. And we got to wait on the Supreme Court. But I tell you, man, I think they may be now signaling that it might be better to compromise with these black folk and compromise on some of this stuff than go so hard in the paint that the white lash and the backlash leads to them losing everything. So it is a very interesting development today.
Again, what it goes to show you is they want to go after. I can't say this enough, Reese, to the people who don't get it. They want to go after everything black. And people need to wake up and understand what's going on. They understand that if you attack and eradicate black political power, you're impacting black economic power. You're impacting it in education, nonprofit. It cascades all the way. So there's a reason that we are being targeted.
Well, absolutely there is. And we've always been in the bullseye. But I think to Dr. Carr's point, they recognize that we are at a precipice where they can go balls to the walls all the way off the deep end, but doing so at a time of great economic peril with great dissatisfaction and disillusionment within the country could backfire in very violent ways that I don't think that they're prepared for. I think that some of the people in this administration, by moving into military officer housing that they have no business being in, is kind of anticipating a bigger response to their policies and the results of the things that they're putting in motion. But I don't think that the judges are quite prepared to go that far. So we'll see whether or not these judges and up to the Supreme Court are prepared to go all in with the circumstances that we're in now. My inkling is that they might understand that preserving, we're talking about one black here, one black there, a couple of blacks, let's have our little 12 blacks stay in Congress and keep people just a little bit more calm, a little bit more chill, versus going all the way over on the other side where people realize, like, well, hey, I don't actually have citizenship. I don't actually have the ability to influence who has power over the area that I occupy. So maybe I have to go about this a different way. And I don't think that anybody wants that. And I've been saying for years that I certainly don't want that.
Boy.
You know, one of the other concerns here is that, you know, it's hard to say that this isn't racially motivated and this is just about party politics when you're seeing rampant racism within the Republican Party and that they're putting it online and they're putting it in text and that they're saying it in speeches. It's really hard to say that. I mean, there's a record here of motivations. And so no matter what they might, say in polite company, we understand what's being said, really for the record, for us all to see. And many judges don't want to be a part of that. I think there's also a real concern that we are under a threat to our democracy and that there have to be checks and balances. And that when you vest in all one party and you allow one party to completely take over, that what you do is you create a scenario where what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So next time you can see Democrats doing the exact same thing and courts having to uphold it because that's been the law before. So I do think that there are some real, concerns here that a court must look at. By and large, this court has also been hesitant to disadvantage Black people in terms of redistricting directly, right? There does seem to be some hesitancy by the court to do that. And so we'll see that with us, this traditional group, when they're seeing that there is a real targeting of us, that there might be some pause. Certainly we've seen it at the lower court level. I think that hopefully we will have a better outcome than we've seen in the past at the Supreme Court level. But Republicans should know that whatever happens that they're able to do. Democrats will be able to do the same. And we do not want, as Reese said, this kind of pendulum swing. And I think that they are anticipating that people are going to be very upset about this.
Yeah.
As Greg Carr said, it's not a fait accompli. You got to vote in the fall.
There you go. That's what we always say constantly. Quick break. We come back. Marketplace right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Are you ready for the holidays? This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about all things anxiety and the holidays, whether it's performance anxiety, presence versus presence, making certain that everybody in your space understands the boundaries and how to respect your home. This week, we're talking about those things that will allow you to have a peaceful holiday season.
It really is not about perfection. It's really about the house feeling warm and cozy and peaceful.
You don't have to like everybody, but what you can do is be cordial in those environments.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Jamia Pugh. I am from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, just an hour right outside of Philadelphia.
My name is Jasmine Pugh. I'm also from Coatesville, Pennsylvania.
You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
Thanksgiving is next week, but y'all already know Christmas stuff is already out. Tonight we have some holiday cheer with Christmas in Color. Becky Goodlow, the creative owner behind this vibrant brand, offers culturally inspired decor that brings warmth, joy, and representation to your celebrations. Becky joins us from Atlanta. Becky, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. All right. So how did this whole thing start? How did you start with doing Christmas decorations?
So we started the company in 2010, so it's been 15 years. And we started because we couldn't find any decorations for our own house that had brown skin. And we had two nutcrackers, actually 3-foot tall nutcrackers that were a gift from a friend of my parents. And we had them in our Christmas card photos for a couple years in a row. And every year people would call us and say, where'd you get those? Where'd you get those? And so we thought, well, maybe we should be selling them. So that's how we started, was with the idea of helping other Black families have decorations that look like them.
All right. So we look at these decorations, and I'm moving them actually over here. So you got, so first of all, let's make sure Megan Kelly don't see this segment because, she said Santa was undeniably white. So this here probably would drive her ass crazy, seeing a Black Santa. But you got the snow glow here. We got the Black Santa. We got some angels. So what else we got? So who are these brothers?
So did you notice the Black Santa? There's one Black Santa. I don't know if you have that one.
Hold on. This one I got here, and let's see, what is it? What is his name? Let's see here. Hold up. He got names on here. He's holding a bag, and he's holding a Texas A&M bag. Yeah. So in that bag, he's carrying all of the Texas Longhorn players who we gonna beat next Friday. Matt Manning is in here as well. Matt, of course, Matt's gonna be sickened when we beat them down in Austin. So that's cool, Santa right there. All right then.
Yeah, just have to let you know, my husband is a Longhorn, so he said to say hi.
Well, he's been used to losing this year. So the only saving grace for him is he's an alpha. But that's the only saving grace. So he know he gonna get a text from me next Friday, after we beat that behind. All right. So you started this in 2010, and has it just been methodically growing every year?
Yeah. So what was interesting was in 2010, you could barely find anything. Like every major store, like a Macy's or a Target, would have one or two things. But there was no place you could go to have a selection of items. And we would approach the major companies and every year and say, hey, would you make some nutcrackers or angels with brown skin? And the response at first was no, because we'll lose money. And so they had no interest in that. And I guess at some point they figured out that they could make money, because now a whole lot of those big companies are making the same things that I've been selling.
Yeah, but see, well, first of all, let's just be real clear. America has always been defined by whiteness. And what they've always done is force us to accept that. And that's, but again, when you got ignorant ass people like Megyn Kelly who will say, okay, kids, deal with it. Santa's white. I mean, that's their whole deal. So this idea that having a culturally representative Santa matters. Look, my grandmother had a catering business. And my mama did cakes and used to actually, my mama would paint the bridal tops because they were always white. So like, give me that brown paint. Let's paint this sucker here. Because again, black folks wanted, they didn't want some white woman, some white dude on top of their cake.
Right. So here's a great story. The first year that we ordered nutcrackers from a company that was willing to work with us and make ones with brown skin, we picked the white ones that they had on display and we said, make these with brown skin. And, we figured out the hair color, all of that. And then when we got them in the mail, and these are boxes and boxes, Roland, all of them had blue eyes.
Oh, hell no.
Didn't even occur to us that they wouldn't change the eye color.
Wow.
Right? So
they were like, they were like, y'all ain't mentioned eyes.
Right. Well, there are black folks with blue eyes, but the majority of us are not.
Ain't that many.
Right. So I had to learn how to paint eyes for that first batch because I thought I can't, at first we were like, oh, we could sell these and then the next order, but there's no way. So I had to learn how to sit there and paint the eyes.
How many did you have to paint?
Oh, I would say that first order, which wasn't huge, but it was still, I would say, probably over 500.
I bet you were sitting there like, God, every time you had to paint one, but you were cussing every little bit. Like, damn it, I got to paint each one of these. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Questions?
But, then we got it together, and the vendor was great. I mean, it was great to find a vendor who didn't want me to buy thousands at first, so I could just get a few hundred at a time and, and grow that way. So it's been great.
I'm sure Greg Carr is looking for one of the nutcrackers with a dashiki.
You're not too far off, Brad. You're not too far off. But I must say, Sister Goodlow, I was very happy looking at the website to see Tuskegee, Tennessee State, Alma Mater, Howard, FAM, Jackson State, Southern, Grambling. Can I ask you a quick question on licensing? I know it's very popular now, particularly among young people like my students now. They're all going into business. Our good brother, Lanny Smith, that Actively Black, was able to get the licensing agreement to do a lot of the hoodies from HBCUs. But to see that many HBCUs represented in the ornaments, did you have to work some kind of licensing agreement out, not just with the HBCUs, obviously, but with the other schools as well to use the logos?
No, so I worked with Santa's Workshop, which is the company that got the licenses. So that allowed me not, because it's, they're expensive.
Yeah, so what you did is you went with a company that already had those very licenses. You did a deal with them.
Right, and then I did a deal with them.
Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. Reese.
These ornaments are beautiful. I didn't know that nutcrackers had blue eyes because I only buy black stuff for my house. So I'm curious, what kind of stuff do you have for girls and for the ladies in terms of your products?
So that's always a great question.
In terms of your feminine, in terms of like female, yeah.
Yes. So we have a couple of female nutcrackers.
What you looking for, Miss Santa? You looking for?
I have a Miss Santa.
I'm trying to figure out
I have a Mrs. Claus. I have a Mrs. Claus, and I have a couple of female nutcrackers. I also have a lot of ornaments for little girls, especially ballerinas. So I have, because of the Nutcracker, the ballet, you have a lot of the dancers from the ballet. So I have lots of sets of ornaments of little girls.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Joy.
I love this. And, I want to know a couple of things. One, just restate for us where we can buy all of your products and we can see some of those products with women and all the diversity on there. The other thing is, are there any major stores that have offered to put you on their shelves? I know that I remember, Anthropology sometimes has some things with, African-American products for Christmas. I don't see any yet. They need to be calling you.
Well, thank you. You can find everything that I carry on my website, which is christmasincolor.com. And that shows I have, I think, over 140 products. So that way you can see all of them. It's hard to show all of them at once, but I went with just a sample so that you could see the different kinds. And then in terms of going into stores, it's tough. I've done some local things, but it's to do sort of a major thing at this point, because there are so many companies now that are doing it themselves. I'm not sure they need me at this point. And I know that sounds odd, but the product is out there for an Anthropology to get. They just have to know it exists.
Gotcha. All right, then. Well, listen, folks, if y'all want to check out all of the products, simply go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You will see these. Listen, y'all getting stuff. Look, you got angels and claws and Miss Claus. You got the lantern right here. You got the Nutcracker. This is absolutely fantastic. Y'all know we absolutely believe in supporting Black-owned businesses, and so what Becky is doing here is phenomenal. And so again, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com to check it all out. We have them right there on the website. Christmas in color. And so, and in fact, y'all get gifts. Y'all can actually make this actually a Christmas gift for somebody else. And so y'all can hook them up. So y'all should go to the site now, buy the stuff down. So when y'all getting ready for Thanksgiving, some of y'all gonna be putting up y'all trees the next day or on the weekend. Boom, you can already crack all your stuff out and get ready for the Christmas season. Becky, anything else?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me, and also thank you for doing this segment, because there's so many people who do want to shop with Black businesses. So it's nice to have a place to go to have actually a huge list of companies that are owned by Black folks.
Well, that's why we started this from the beginning. And when we launched this show, we always had a marketplace segment to feature Black-owned businesses. And so that's why we're doing it. And that's the difference when you own it versus when you working for somebody else.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And tell your husband saw horns off. Saw horns off. But
I will pass that along.
Hey, Greg, husband, he's a fellow alpha, but I want him to be in immense pain the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
So
I say, brother, y'all choose violence, man. Y'all be choosing violence down there in Texas.
Yes.
Horns off, is that?
Yes, saw horns off. Absolutely. So that's how we do it. All right, Becky, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, then. That's it for us. I know it's some stuff I didn't get to, y'all. I still ain't dealt with that racist Nick Fuentes. We just had so much other stuff. But that bigot, he's going to be there for quite some time any damn way. So we'll deal with him. So we'll deal with that. So, Greg, tell us more about the conference. And I'm trying to remember, did I speak at that conference before? I was going through my stuff, and I know I spoke at a Black Educators Conference. I'm trying to think, did I speak at the Black Male Educators? I'm not sure, but go ahead.
No, I don't think so. The Center for Black Educator Development, good brother Sharif El-Mekki here in Philadelphia. This conference, I forget now, maybe in like 14th year, but now over 1,000 folks, I mean, maybe closer to 2,000, convened at the Lowe's Hotel here in downtown Philadelphia. Women, men, but mostly male educators and young people too. A lot of young people here under 30. Tonight I was on a panel with Kamika Royal and Sharice Cheney, my man Ivory Tolson, who is our frat brother, editor of the Journal of Negro Education, talking about Black education. Dr. Leslie Fenwick talked about her book, Jim Crow's Pink Slip, which we talked about on the Black Table. A lot of educators here, man, and it's about recruiting more young people to be educators. So, in fact, this is their theme. We need Black teachers. This is the mantra. In fact, Roland, like I said, I've been going 1,000,000 miles a minute, but I saw a couple of the cats who teach the AP African American Studies course around the country. The last time I saw them was actually when we did the Black Table session, and they were like, "We're gonna do Black Table again." I was like, "Roland been telling me, man, we got to do it." He said, "We got to come together." So I'm gonna schedule them, and we're gonna do another session with them, the AP African States teachers. But man, I tell you, everybody here, they like, tell Roland, Black Star Network is what we need. We're all supporters. We watch. Some of them watching right now, I guarantee you. So it's an annual thing. Next year, man, we got to get you up here. It's always right before Thanksgiving, that weekend before Thanksgiving here in Philadelphia.
All right. Well, let us know. We'll think about it. Reese, what you got coming up on Saturday?
We'll see. It's a lot going on. But I tell you what I have coming up every day. My Am I Tripping game and my Sounds About Right game. Since we talk about Black business.
Yo, what?
I hook it up for the holidays. Am I Tripping? This is the second edition.
Oh,
Am I Tripping?
got it. Girl,
and my Sounds About Right game.
Look like some Rice Krispies. I'm like, what's she holding up?
What? No. AmITrippingGame.com is where you can get my games, okay, for that holiday fun.
All right, then. Well, Greg, Reese, Joy, I appreciate y'all being on today's show. Thank you so very much. Folks, that is it for us. It's a whole lot going on. We are staying on top of this. And again, our goal is very simple. That is to cover the stories and the issues that matter to our people. That's what stands out to us. That's what we do. That's why we do what we do. We're not here to ask anybody's opinion. We ain't asking them permission. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. And that's the way we roll. And so your support is crucial to us being able to do that. And so we want you to continue to support us in every way. If you want to join, matter of fact, I asked Keenan last night, our donors, we exceeded 35,000. A bunch of y'all have sent me checks. I picked them up from the post office today. I'll be opening those envelopes. So just letting y'all know. But we've got more than 35,000 donors, more than 150,000 downloads of our app. We got a lot of things going on, and don't forget, we made changes to blackstarnetwork.com, and so now when you go to the website, you can see these stories. You can go to my iPad. Come on, so you now see this is the new look of blackstarnetwork.com. How we have all of this information on here, broken down with politics, news, our latest videos, our shows. Also, a much easier way for you to donate. So you can it's right there. You can go to the site and you can see right here how you can donate. The mailing, Keenan, let me know where the mailing address is. Maybe we should put it right here below there as well. So all that's on here, folks. And again, we use a black-owned company, Quantity, out of Los Angeles, to redo our website. And so we appreciate all of their work. Again, if you want to contribute to us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here in the bottom left-hand corner. That's also for credit cards. Also, PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo's RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Text the money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. If you want to get our Black Star Network, Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, go to shop.blackstarnetwork.com. We've got our T-shirts. Don't blame me, I voted for the black woman. Hoodies, wall art, mugs, and more. All right there. Shop.blackstarnetwork.com. You see all these products right here. You can support as well. So check it all out. We've got toilet paper, Leafy. We've got smocks right here. We got backpacks. We've got skincare, cupcakes, chips. We've got stuffed animals. We got art, HBCU shirts. We got crossword puzzles. We got all this sort of stuff. We got, of course, journals. We've got fragrances, gem wraps, and of course, you got right here all of the Christmas in color stuff as well. All of that, shop.blackstarnetwork.com. And do this in your favor as well, y'all. No. Right here. Do a screenshot. Do a screenshot right now of this here. And so do a screenshot. Let me smile. Okay. So do a screenshot, and I want y'all to share it. Now, Anthony, give me a wide shot. Come on, give me the wide shot. Thank you. All right, so do a screenshot. So I want y'all to share this. I want y'all to share this shot. I want y'all to share this shot Post on social. Tell people to go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You are supporting Black-owned businesses. This business, we get a proceed of the sales. So you're supporting this show. When you buy from these products, you're supporting this show and these Black-owned businesses. We have to be able to learn to help with each other, utilize our resources together. And so please do that. Don't forget, download the app Fanbase. Also, if you want to invest, they've raised $13.8 million. The goal is $17 million in the Series A fundraise. Once it closes, it's done. And so go get more information at startengine.com startengine.com/fanbase. 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 All right, y'all. That's it. I got to go. I'll see you tomorrow. Shout out to my cousin, Trevor Cobb. Today's his birthday. That's it, folks. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!